All right, here's Rabbi Bolton again in Crown Heights, and I have a couple of minutes of, I hope, quiet over here. So let me try to say the speech. This is a speech which is given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1956. Here it goes. It's talking about the holiday of Simchat Torah. The holiday of Simchat Torah is at the end of the holiday of Sukkot. And in Russia, for instance, even in the most recent, near the end of communism, it was very, very dangerous to demonstrate that you were a Jew, or especially if you were a believing Jew. So all the Jews, and Simchat Torah, that was the big day. Simchat Torah, that was the big day that all of the Jews came to the synagogue, even more than on Yom Kippur and all the others. Simchat Torah, to rejoice with the Torah. And of course, 1/3 of the crowd were spies, and there were pictures, and they were taking pictures of everybody. But nobody cared. And everybody used to get tremendously drunk. And even today, just today, I went to do lulav and etrog with people in a hospital. And one of them said that they remember that their father used to come back from the synagogue totally drunk on Simchat Torah. And these are people that are not religious. They're not religious Jews. They don't keep Shabbat. They didn't keep it in Russia. Who kept anything? But Simchat Torah they kept. Now the interesting thing about Simchat Torah, what do the words mean? To be happy with the Torah. Now these people didn't do the commandments, but sure they didn't know what it says in the Torah. But nevertheless, they rejoiced with the Torah because they understood somehow or other deep in their soul that the Torah is really a good thing. So everyone was dancing, even the most simple Jews. And the interesting thing about Simchat Torah is that the happiness of the Torah was taking it and dancing with it. You would think that the happiness was sitting and learning, because that's the main thing of the Torah. The Torah is a very complicated, very beautiful, and intricate and very deep. And there's many, many levels of simple understanding, and then there's homiletic understanding, and there's Kabbalistic understanding. And all this is dealing with your head. That's what the word Torah means, teaching. So how does it come that the joy of the Torah is expressed by dancing with it? He says that's exactly the point. Here we go. In them, inyan, in this fact, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Hod Garet, we spoke. Hotman Garet, we spoke in a Simchat Torah. The Simchat Torah, tanzt alle Yidden, all the Jews danced together ba'achdus, at one. The greatest, wisest Jews, and the most religious Jews, and the most ignorant Jews, and the most distant, non-religious, that somehow or they all come together and dance for Simchat Torah, is Faran in them, Nur and Nakud. There's another point. Not only do they dance all together as one, like there's a unity, a tremendous unity, but there's another point over here. And what is the other point? Tanz and Tanzman, we dance, not with your head, nor mit den Fies, but with your feet. What do you dance with your feet? Und durch the Fies, and by means of the feet, is tanzt euch the cup. The feet move the head. Huh? So the feet move the head. Maybe we can make this a little bigger. There we go. So the feet moved the head. Euch men wollt getanzt mit dem Kopf, das heißt mitzad hasaga. If we would just dance with our head, in other words, everyone would come and say some sort of a brilliant idea that they had in the Torah, is demolt volt gewen the simcha hagbala, then the joy would be limited. Just one moment. One moment. Then it would be limited. Therefore, tanzman with the feet. Therefore, we dance with the feet. Veis nit, you don't know was der Eibishter is. You don't know what God is. Und veis what God is, and you don't. The Jew doesn't know what the Torah is, right? The Torah, the feet don't know anything. Nor you only know is the Eibishter Mitzayin Torah, that the Jews just knew the Torah, and God is a tayar zach. It's dear, it's precious. Like I say, you could especially see this in the Russian Jews. Now it's more permissible for a Jew to express his Judaism, but back then it was a big, huge novelty. It was dangerous also. Der ganzen Welt, the whole world, I'm sorry, it's a very thing, was nit azoy davar, there's not such a dear thing in the whole world, the Torah. Und das ruft by him, arise, this brings a tremendous joy without any limit. Why? Because God is first of all, he's keeping us alive and he's creating us. We certainly don't understand that. But nevertheless, we know that if there is such a thing as God, and a person can feel it, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe believed it, and Moses believed it, and Abraham believed it, and great rabbis, Rebbe Akiva, and these people, they certainly did believe it. And they didn't look like fools or anything, so they certainly did believe it. And so, maybe it's true. Not only that, every Jew feels it deep inside of himself. That's the point. It's not that you look at somebody else and see the Jews are risking their lives in order to come and dance on Simchat Torah. Das is oich der inyan. This is the whole idea of Simchat Torah. Why would Simchat Torah setz men sich nit nun? We don't sit and learn. In other words, that the joy, that our joy comes from understanding new ideas in the Torah, nor men. We dance with the Sefer Torah. Ze is a reingewinkelt, like it is wrapped up in a mantle in a covering. As men beweist nit, no gor nit, you don't know was is ir state. You don't even know what it says in the Torah. And a lot of these Russian Jews, they were dancing, and we're not talking about a small number. We're talking about a tremendous number of Jews, beside risking their lives, but a lot of them couldn't even read Hebrew. They didn't even know they just knew that the Torah was very dear. As men vase nor, we only know, as es is a tayar zach, it's just very, very dear, and therefore is men mit ir sameach believable. Therefore you can be happy without any limit. Azoy vi in yether einam. Just like every person is their seder, as men tanzt, that each and every Jew also dances with the feet. You dance with your feet. And by means of this, the cup, and by means of this, the feet move the head. It's also the same thing as the whole entire Jewish nation. The Jewish nation is like one person. For instance, when Moses went to take the Jews out of Egypt, so God said, go into Pharaoh and say, my son, my chosen one, Israel. He didn't say my sons. So all the Jewish people are like one big body. So the same thing is the feet move the head. The head, of course, are the big rabbis and the ones that really understand. As the simcha, that the joy from the simple people, vazei frayin, which they are happy with the Torah, vazir simple, which their joy is without any limit, because they're just happy because the Torah is good and that God is good, and they're willing to even risk their lives to dance in communist Russia with the Torah. Is thus spoiled this by the simple people. This brings a tosefes, an extra joy, also an extra joy, as oich by zei tut zich oif a simcha a peshitos. 1 second. A simplicity believable without any limit. So this elevates the head, and it elevates even the highest rabbis. When the greatest rabbis look and see how the simple people are dancing with the Torah, then they realize there's something incomprehensibly beautiful and essential about the Torah. And it gives a whole new insight into life. That's life. It makes a person alive, and he's dancing. When Duruch then, by means of that joy of Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, outside of Israel is Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret. It's 2 different days. As Kump Men Su Lebechinas Parachad, we come to this level of what it says that they sacrificed. The sacrifices then In the holiday of Sukkot, we talked about before that they sacrificed 70 oxes. 70, and that corresponds to all the 70 nations of the world, that it brings them blessing. But Simchat Torah, when the Jews are united and they're serving God with this simple, total joy, as in the Holy Temple, they only brought one ox, parachot. Nidvei Sukkot is not like in Sukkot where they sacrifice 70 oxes, corresponding to the 70 nations, and the 70 says the chieftain angels that give inspiration and life to the non-Jews. Valdan haben ze euch an ort, because in Sukkot the non-Jews also have a place. Nor men kumtzu in azoi bechina come to such a level as haben gor kind ordinate that the nations of the world, they cannot affect us in any way whatsoever. After all, the Jewish people are supposed to be the teachers. And if the teacher is negatively affected by his class, so then he's afraid and he starts to pander to everybody and flatter and then et cetera, et cetera. He's afraid of them. So he can't be a good teacher. So the Jewish people, in order to be a teacher, they have to be not affected negatively by the non-Jews. And this power they get to be totally united with God alone, this comes from this holiday, Simchat Torah. Dort and Gefinzich, there we find Marinate only and God with the Jews. Like it says, you will be alone and there won't be any other powers with you. So this is the day the Jewish people receive the joy and the empowerment to be a good influence on the whole world and not to be intimidated or to be, affected negatively by the whole world around us, but exactly the opposite. We should affect the world in a positive way. And that's the whole idea of Moshiach now, to bring the Torah and the true teachings of the Torah to the Jewish people, and the Jewish people to apply what is relevant in the Torah to the non-Jews, 7 Noahide commandments, to the non-Jews, and fix up the whole world in a happy way. A happy way. And that's, like, I think I told you this before, but I'm going out now on the streets and asking Jews to put on, to do lulav and etrog, to do this commandment. And there's a lot of non-Jews, and I speak to them. And one Jewish lady, non-Jewish lady, she said, well, the Messiah is going to come and you're going to really be sorry. And I said, well, we believe that the Messiah is going to come and you're going to really be happy. And all the people that don't believe in the Messiah are going to be really happy because they're going to feel that they're important, that God is creating them. And that mainly is the message to the Baal Shem Tov, which, God willing, we will continue to tomorrow as soon as I have a chance to do it. It's an opportunity. God bless you all. Have a good, happy holiday with Moshiach now.